Hey, KidNuz fans! As you know, we're always trying to increase the news IQ of our listeners. Now there's a way to help them improve in all sorts of subjects. IXL is an online learning platform helping millions of K-12 kids up their academic game. 75 scientific studies back up the boost they'll get in math, science, reading, and social studies. Kids get instant feedback and explanations. Parents get reports showing what's working and where more help might be needed. And right now, KidNuz listeners can try it out for 20% off when they sign up at IXL.com/KidNuz. Check out the monthly and annual memberships at IXL.com/KidNuz.
Good morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Kim. Today is Friday, October 4th, 2024. And we begin with an unlikely baseball team striking fear in the hearts of rivals. The Kansas City Royals lost 106 games last year, only to bounce back this season with enough wins to get them into the wild card round where they just swept the Baltimore Orioles. Next stop is Yankee Stadium to face Aaron Judge in Game 1 of the American League Division Series tomorrow. As the New York Times noted, the Royals don't make the playoffs often, just 4 times since 1985. But when they do, they rarely lose. The last 3 times the Royals were in the postseason, they made it all the way to the World Series. It's an amazing story of fatherly love and dad determination. David Jones of South Carolina had to ditch his car and hoof it 30 miles through neighborhoods decimated by Helene so that he could walk his daughter down the aisle. The wedding was in neighboring Tennessee, and he left extra time to get there, but when he finally made it to the state line after hours of detours, a trooper told him all roads were washed out. Mr. Jones was undeterred. A 2-time marathon runner, he put his fitness to the test. With only his cell phone flashlight to guide him through darkness, he spent the next 5.5 hours slogging through mud and over debris. Mr. Jones arrived just in time, and in true hero style, he said nothing about his ordeal to anyone until his speech at the reception. A week after the storm hit, nearly 1 million Americans from Florida to Ohio are still without power, and tens of thousands are without running water. Without a doubt, Helene will go down as one of the most destructive storms in U.S. history, and much of the blame seems to rest on climate change. Tomorrow, we're dropping a special episode on Helene. We'll talk to a climate expert about how this hurricane got so big so fast, how it could be the new norm, and why western North Carolina took such a big hit.
And the mountains basically acted like a ramp. Like if you're on a skateboard and you're going up a ramp, you're going to go up. And that pretty much what's happened with the moisture. It hit those mountains and it went up. And when moist air goes up, it usually leads to rain coming down.
Again, that interview goes live tomorrow morning wherever you get your podcasts. It sounds suspiciously like Back to the Future. Some scientists in Toronto, Canada, say they may have found something they're calling negative time. They set up an experiment where photons, which are tiny packets of energy that make up the light we see, are shot through another material. But in this case, as Futurism reported, when the photons were beamed into a cloud of atoms, they appeared to exit before they entered it. One scientist likened it to a clock hand moving backward. Other researchers will now duplicate the experiment to see if they get the same results, a process called peer review. The 8 arms of California octopi just got 9 lives. Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill prohibiting the farming of octopus for food. California is the second state after Washington to enact such legislation, and Hawaii is considering a similar bill. Advocates of the bill say octopi have exhibited unusually high intelligence and can navigate mazes, learn skills, and even use simple tools. The creatures may even dream and be able to distinguish human faces. Those advocates say confining and farming these smart, solitary animals is inhumane. The bill was co-sponsored by the Animal Legal Defense Fund and the group Social Compassion in Legislation. Still ahead, a new top dog in the Burger Wars. But first, we want to wish a big happy birthday to Nitro Nev Norby of Gig Harbor, Washington. Nev, your mom, dad, Stevie, groomers, Dex, and Butters tell us you are smart, strong, and kind. And they hope you have the best day with lovely Mrs. Glass and your fellow navigators at Lighthouse Christian School. Now, today's KidNuz quiz. What unusual thing did a father of the bride do to show up at his daughter's wedding in time? Walk 30 miles. Who might be the team to watch this baseball postseason? The Kansas City Royals. What creature is protected under new legislation signed by California Governor Gavin Newsom? Octopus. Scientists in Toronto believe they may have found what? Something they're calling negative time. In today's KidNuz Kicker, there's a new winner in the burger wars, and they're doing everything they can to make sure people know about it, especially their chief competitor. Habit Burger, a chain that was started 54 years ago in Santa Barbara, California, has dethroned In-N-Out as the most popular burger joint, according to a survey from USA Today. Now, Habit Burger is making the most of it. The company is putting up billboards in Southern California congratulating In-N-Out for winning the number 2 spot. They've even placed one ad on a billboard that faces an In-N-Out restaurant. That way, In-N-Out fans will be reminded they are eating a second-place burger. Thanks again to the Norby family of Gig Harbor, Washington for sponsoring today's quiz. Happiest of birthdays to jiu-jitsu and basketball-loving Nev Norby, and a shout-out to all her friends and classmates at Lighthouse Christian. And hello to our other teachers and classrooms, Mrs. Fernandez and her Lions at George Washington in Durant, Oklahoma. Mrs. Parmentier and her Shamrocks at New Haven in New Haven, Missouri. And Miss Clifton and her Trojans at Maroa Forsyth Grade School in Forsyth, Illinois. Thanks for listening. Remember, we have a special episode dropping tomorrow on Helene and how climate change may have fueled its fury. Our thoughts are with all those impacted. Have a nice weekend, and we'll see you back here for more KidNuz Monday morning.